Good afternoon or good morning. How is everyone doing today? Right now I have left church and I'm actually on my way to the hair salon so I can get my hair clipped a little bit. Tales from the crypt. But anyway, I'm just gonna get the back kind of cleaned up. I don't really like how that was looking, so just gonna get it raised a little bit, and then we're gonna hit the gym because it's a hop, skip, and a jump away. So let's get this day started. So it has been a couple days since I actually recorded these videos, but as you can see, it was raining outside, and yeah, it's still raining even now. Must still be in April because we're still getting those darn showers. Like, April showers bring May flowers. Like, what do June showers bring in July then? Because we're almost reaching mid-June and we haven't stopped getting rain. And we still get weather that still feels like late autumn more so than it does spring or summer even. And we're almost at summer too. 500 days of summer, more like 500 days of what the heck's going on with this weather. Now, I don't hate rain. You need the rain in order to appreciate the sun, and I understand why rain is good for the environment and things like that. But it's always on my day off. I rarely ever get a nice, beautiful, sunny day. I did on Wednesday, so that was really nice. I really appreciated that. I guess that goes into what I was saying. But it's just so much rain. It doesn't stop. I know Brandon Lee said it can't rain all the time, but clearly he never lived in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, because it can rain all the time, and it proves it. But sometimes you just gotta have a laugh about it, because what can you do? You can't, just look at the sky, say, hey, stop raining. I mean, that'd be pretty rad, but that might cause severe environmental damage that humanity is just straight up not prepared for, to just constantly get sun. I now kind of understand why the people in the UK are just like, yo, our weather is just always just miserable. I'm just like, I feel you, my friends. I feel you, because that's just kind of how it is here. And this kind of ties into when it becomes autumn. It's mostly feels like spring or summer, sorry, doesn't really wrap up until it gets to winter, and then it's not even like a gradual embrace of winter. It feels like, oh no, we have a blizzard now. That's kind of the thing about this area, is that there's no in-betweens when it comes to the weather. It's just summer and winter, and there's no way to get prepared for it. You kind of have to be like, oh, it's that time of year, and then you're in it, because you don't get that grace period to adequate yourself to the upcoming seasons. I mean, it does keep you on the bounce to make sure you're prepared for the winter weather, because when that snowstorm hits, it hits hard. Like, you know how I keep saying, yeah, it hasn't stopped raining? That's essentially how it is when it hits wintertime. Obviously, it's not with rain, it's with snow. And what annoys me about that is, when it does snow outside, people still don't know how to drive. Been doing this for years. And we are now back in the car, getting ready to go back to the apartment so we can do some audition prep. I'm not going to say what the audition is for or anything like that, but hopefully I get a call later to help with the audition so I have a reader. And what we're going to do between that, well, obviously practice the script and also have a post-workout snack. Probably going to drink more of that protein that I have. And maybe some eggs too, but we'll see about that. Probably gonna be a mostly chill day. As you can see, it's raining out. It is nice to finally have a Sunday off after all this time. And finish my laundry. I put it in the dryer when I left for the gym, and now I'm just waiting for it to wrap up and hopefully be dried. I'm probably gonna have to put it in for an extra 10 minutes so that way nothing looks all wrinkled up. But anyways, I gotta get home and eat a post-workout snack. I'll catch you guys later. day has come and gone. I didn't get a chance to do that audition because I never got a call back for the reader, and so now we are going to Walmart because I need some of my nighttime apples, snacks, and kombucha. The apples are the snacks, by the way. Hopefully tomorrow morning I can get the audition done, get it all wrapped up and taken care of, because this is not a BS audition. This is a big one for me, so I really want to do it and hopefully get it taken care of, but I need a reader first. But anyways, I'll catch you guys in a little bit. So I am back home from Walmart, and you're not going to believe the cool thing I got while I was there. And no, I'm not talking about the kombucha or the 2 cans of almond butter, powdered almond butter. Van Halen on vinyl? Are we serious? Dude, this was a steal. This was awesome. I was going back there to double check to be like in their entertainment section to see maybe, just maybe, they might have a copy of Claire Obscure. They didn't. But I found this, like, Van Halen on vinyl? That's nuts. Still sealed. Obviously, it's not like a first print or anything like that. But still, this is like one of the coolest things I could have found. And I don't really collect vinyl that often, but Van Halen is my second favorite band behind the 69 Eyes. And right below Van Halen is actually Queen. So, in case you're ever wondering what my top 3 bands are, 69 Eyes number 1, Van Halen number 2, Queen number 3. So I'm going to start collecting these now. My favorite album by Van Halen is actually 5150. I'm more of a Sammy Hagar guy because he's the one I listened to growing up with. But Lee Roth, man, Lee Roth, like, you can't go wrong with David Lee Roth either. He just has that rock voice, whereas Hagar had ballad. Like I said, I grew up with that. Not Hagar. Lee Roth had the rocker voice, and that's why I love him specifically too. Both of them, 2 of the Van Halen singers. There are only 2. There's definitely not a third Van Halen singer. Are bangers. But anyway, what's cooler than getting a Van Halen vinyl? I mean, Poultrygeist Night of the Chicken Dead might be almost there, might be, but that's up for debate, my friends. But I don't want to talk about music or film. I need to talk about video game prices again, because apparently this is still an issue. I just saw someone on Twitter post the price for The Outer Worlds 2, and running $80. We're still doing this. They're still doing this. I guess this is going to be the thing. And I just said, like, I reposted it, and my one friend said, I'm going to wait for it to go to sale. And I just said, you know what? I think I'm going to stick to independent games for the foreseeable future, because independent games, like I've said in videos before, they give you more of what you're asking for, and they're willing to be a little bit weirder, and they're being willing to be a little more interesting. And like I said, and I also said this, and I can't stop saying this, the Oblivion remake was $50. And Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which is already, people are saying, a Game of the Year contender, and looks spectacular, also only $50. Should have closed the door immediately on games ever needing to be $80. It should have just slammed that door shut, and everyone should have just walked away, hands up in the air, and said, we tried and we failed. But ever since Nintendo decided to pull that stunt with Mario Kart World, now everyone's going to fall in line with that. Xbox started doing it, and now The Outer Worlds is not, I almost said Outer Wilds, which is an entirely different game. The Outer Worlds 2 is going to try and follow in that footsteps. And here's the thing, and everyone keeps saying this, and this is the issue. The game industry has not built enough trust with the audience to warrant $80. It didn't even build enough trust to charge $70 when they upped that price. And I'm still not over the fact that it was a freaking basketball game that jacked the price up to $70. It wasn't some epic RPG. It wasn't some next generation groundbreaking piece of entertainment. It was a basketball game. And that just kept spinning. And we're not even in a new generation yet, folks. We're not in a new generation at all. We are still in the Series X, PS5 generation. And they're still charging and they're upping the price to $80. They didn't wait one, they just hopped right up. Seriously, just don't bother. I can't stress this enough. Don't pay the price. Like, it doesn't stop until, like, I'm even going as far as saying don't even pay $70 for a new game. They haven't earned it yet. They barely were earning games costing $60, my friends. Because here's the thing, the budget of the game is irrelevant to the players. What matters is how good the game is and how well does it hold up. And being a good game does not mean, and being worth its salt in $80 or $70 or $60 doesn't mean it takes forever to beat, because quantity is just that, quantity. It is not quality. And this is another thing that I'm going back to Doom the Dark Ages. People brought up a very good point with that game, in that it was a $70 game, right? One that's not even on the disc, mind you. Not letting that go. And two, it was lacking features the previous game had. Now, here's the thing. I don't mind Doom being a mainly single-player game, because I think the single player is the best part of Doom. I was never good at first-person shooter like multiplayer, so that's the caveat here, my friends. I was always better when it was just me being allowed to play by myself and going through the adventures on my own. So that's a skill issue on my part, and I'm not even going to try to become good at a first-person shooter online. I promise you that, my friends. But when I played Doom, I played for the campaign, because the campaigns were always really good. They were highly entertaining. They were always well put together, and they were always really fun. But should they have taken out the multiplayer? Now, here's the thing. If you're going to remove features, the other features better be highly improved, because you have more time to focus on them, because that's the thing. If they removed the multiplayer of Doom, because it's not just the multiplayer they removed, my friends. They also removed the map makers and things like that from Doom 2016, which I think is insane. Like, I don't know how easy or hard, I know it's not easy to make, but like I said, if you're removing features from your game, the feature you're focusing on better be the most next level thing anyone's ever played. It has to be vastly improved over the other games by far, and it's not even close. So I understand why people are frustrated with Doom the Dark Ages being $70 and removing features. Because I never played the single player campaign. Like I said, I'm not paying $70 for a wall decoration, and on principle, I'm not even going to buy it digitally. Not unless it goes on a heavy sale. This is principle here. And I've also said this before about Doom the Dark Ages. Yes, I'm not letting this go, my friends. If they were upfront and honest about it from the beginning, saying, hey, the game's not actually on the disc, it's a download, it's a glorified download code. You know what? I'd be like, that's frustrating, but at least you're honest about it. I'll either be like, it's a cool wall decoration, or I'll just buy it digitally. One or the other. because at least they're being honest, but they never once brought it up. Similar to, because this is another game that did the exact same thing that also pissed me off. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 HD. It is one of the best remakes of all time, but the game is not actually on the disc. It has to be downloaded. The only thing that's on the disc is the training mode. What are we doing? And that was like 5 years ago. Huh. And here's the other thing. They're releasing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 HD, but it's not really Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 because it doesn't have the actual campaign mode. Again, they're like, I understand they're making the game look absolutely glorious, but they're removing features and still expecting you to pay top dollar. My friends, egg prices are starting to go down, but people, like, video games are meant to be your escape from reality, like temporary entertainment. And of course, like, I'm not saying they should cost just $20. That'd be awesome. And especially more people would absolutely buy it. But I'm well aware costs do have to come into play here. But when you start pricing out people who are just kind of living paycheck to paycheck, and the one thing they kind of look forward to take their mind off how stressful their life is, like maybe whether it be the next Call of Duty, the next Doom, the next Mario game, the next Zelda game, Assassin's Creed, any game in particular, and they think, oh, I can't play that because I can't afford it anymore, and that's the keyword there, anymore. You have to be responsible with your money. Don't ignore what I'm saying here. You have to be responsible with your money, and don't misword me here. Because bills and family have to come first. But life's stressful, man. And pricing people out of something that can help them relieve that stress is absurd. And like I said, I'm well aware games do have to charge something. But not 80, and not 70 and not 80. The $70 price hike was always too high. I don't think I've ever paid for $70 once. Now that I think about it, I technically did when I pre-ordered Doom: The Dark Ages, but remember, I canceled that pre-order. I canceled it like that as soon as I saw it. But I'm going to move on. I normally just wait for sale, but even now. Like if you wait, they're just gonna jack up the price anyway. Because that's the thing about waiting. It's just like, yeah, you're not getting it day of release, you're not getting it brand spanking new. But at least you're getting it at a lower cost. And that was supposed to be the trade-off. Like as Tom Sowell always says, there are no solutions, only trade-offs. And that was the trade-off. Is yeah, you're not getting it day one. You're not gonna be able to play it during its high hype. But you save some money. And can you really do it now? The Xbox Series S and X are now going up in price. Excuse me? Excuse me. That's absurd. The technology did not improve at any point. And here's one thing everyone also pointed out is that these are not like brand newly made Xboxes, right? These have been in warehouses for a while now, and they're still waiting to be sold. So this has nothing, we can discuss the tariff things till we're blue in the face. I mean, we're not going to on this channel because it's not what this channel is about. But for them to jack up the price on Xboxes that have just been kind of sitting there and waiting to be bought, because as far as I know, the Xbox has not been selling well this generation. And I remember I was listening to Legendary Drops, and he said that he believed at first the Oblivion price was Xbox kind of showing their hand, being like, hey, we're going to drop some prices so that way we can get our name out there more and start getting control of this. And then they were the ones to follow Nintendo's way and jack up the prices to 80. What a disappointment. What a disappointing generation this has been. The consoles have barely had any games to call their own to begin with. And then they jack up the prices even before we're on to the next generation of consoles. And the game that started the price hike to begin with the $70 I'm talking about here, was a basketball game. What a disappointing generation. There's like hidden gems in there, because if it wasn't for this generation, we wouldn't get Claire Obscure. And like everyone said, I haven't played it yet, so I don't know how magnificent it is, even though from what I've seen, like, I can't stress enough how much I want to play Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I am playing through so many backlog games because I refuse to buy another game until then. I mean, I say that now, but after I already bought the Precinct and the Cowabunga collection for Ninja Turtles. But this is just so underwhelming. Exceptions, obviously, for like Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, because that looks gorgeous. Haven't played that yet because it's still $70. Like I said, I'm not paying $70. Rise of the Ronin, I think. No, Rise of the Ronin was this generation. That one at least goes on sale on Amazon a lot, so I might get it there if I ever do get it. That was supposed to be like the next game I play too, but after I saw Claire Obscure, I was like, I can't not play that game. That looks like the Lost Odyssey sequel I've been waiting for so long. How's that for a reference? There hasn't been a new Jack and Daxter game. There's been one not Sly Cooper. There's been one Ratchet and Clank. There hasn't been a new Sly Cooper. Man. Not a new Infamous. Not a new Prototype. Stellar Blade was good. Final Fantasy 16 was pretty cool too. Like I said, there are exceptions here. Even if Final Fantasy 16 had way too many cutscenes. Immortals of Avium is okay, but that's all this is okay. I wish they would remake Immortals of Avium and actually like learn how to make a proper Doom game. Like, if they balance that game out, it would be so much better. Because that's what's disappointing about Immortals of Avium. It's just disappointing because I see there's something there. I see magic in that game, no pun intended. Freaking Forspoken. It's supposed to be like the next leap in the generation. Forspoken. I can't go by like my own actual opinion of it. I can only go by reviews, but that just, it looks fun enough on the curve, but freaking $70 this generation and already jacking up to 80. Such a disappointing generation that hasn't earned any of its pricing. And the games that are worth their salt are being sold at a lower price. Maybe that's the lesson in all this. Anyway, I'm gonna eat more apples. I'm gonna chug that kombucha. I'm gonna beat Immortals of Avium tonight. I'm not gonna get the Platinum Trophy tonight. I already know that. I don't even know if I'm gonna go for the Platinum Trophy then. I might just say, okay, I had fun with that and I'm done. But we'll figure that out. Anyway, that's all I got for tonight. I'll catch you guys later.